And the second part is the action part. I'm just going to focus on, there can be a lot of actions that can be taken, but what I'm going to focus today on is the entrepreneurship. So I think that what we say is like putting a self-sustaining, self-motivating criteria, which is generally called profit motive. I know, like, the moment I say profit motive, many people get skeptic. Okay, this guy is talking about business, and this guy is talking about squeezing profits out of poor people. No, not that. Think about this. Today, what I want to say is climate change problem is not a problem which can be solved in philanthropic way. We cannot just say, okay, 100 people coming out in the market and they're just doing good to the society. Isn't it better if we have 100 people working for their own good and saving the environment? So this is a big debate, always has been for developing countries. For example, like even 10 years ago, people used to say in developing countries that, okay, developed countries can afford fighting climate change, we can't. So developing countries, whether we put our money for climate change or we put our money for poverty, if we have a solution which can solve poverty and climate change at the same time, which can give us development and environmental protection at the same time, why not choose for it? That's an easy choice that we can make. So it's needless to say that we need socially responsible entrepreneurs in India, because we look at the youth of India. It's we call it Youngistan, because like there's a huge youth population. Like we look at the job growth rate and the growth rate of youth population, they are significantly different. And so we just can't sit in our homes and think about that government will do jobs and someone will take an effort, someone will open a company and we go and work them. If we want jobs, we have to create them ourselves. And that's why emphasis. But then why green entrepreneurs? At this point I would like to go into a little bit of technicality. So Stern Review it came out in 2006. Stern, he's a British economist. He came out with the numbers of climate change. So you say, okay, if the global temperature goes up by 2 degrees Celsius, we lose Sundarbans. And he kind of put a number to that. So he put a number to that, and what he came out with is like cost of taking action today is 1 to 2% of the gross domestic product of global gross domestic product. But if we don't take any action, if we just sit back in our homes, that was going to cost us 5 to 20% of the global GDP by 2050. And that's a calculation that has been accepted by the United Nations, accepted by the IPCC, and it's globally accepted calculation. So there's no doubt that this calculation is correct, and that itself tells us that what we need to take action today. So as I said, that environmental protection doesn't mean stopping production. So some people would say that, some people would get very skeptic. I'll just go up there and explain this graph as I say. So some people would just say, okay, now we have environmental economics in the house. Now what we are going to have is a production cut. So they think, okay, I'll just explain this graph. So this graph is a private. Along the x-axis we have production emission. So, and this is cost benefit. So as with increased production, the benefit goes down. That is economics. Let's not get into economics now. So that is economics. That's what economics says. This is the accepted graph. This is not something which I'm putting. So this is just that's a copy paste from textbook. So this is the private benefit and this is the social benefit. Why at any point of production the social benefit is less than the private benefit? Because this production process which creates pollution has a social cost. The society pays a cost, which is society loses welfare. So maybe the individual by producing is gaining this much, but actually the society is gaining this much because this much amount is lost by pollution. So if we see the private optimum is there, social optimum is there. Social optimum is below private optimum because the private individual never cares about what pollution he or she is causing. And social optimum, of course, takes care of the society. But now the question is how we're going to, the big question today is how are we going to get back to the social optimum? We are talking about taxes, we're talking about standards, we're talking about carbon credit. But what I want to say is that the moment environmental economics come in, the very common notion that people have is that now we're going to have a production cut. What I'm saying is entrepreneurship solves this problem. How? If we can produce at this amount with this much of emission, that solves our problem. But how we can do that? We can do that by abating pollution. We can do that by investing in technologies which gives us a cleaner, with a cleaner production process than what is currently being used. So for example, if you're currently producing 100 units of clothes and you're producing 5 units of CO2 for that, you can improve your technology. We need people who invest in making the technology better to like producing 100 units of clothes with 3 units of CO2. And that's where entrepreneurship comes in. If you are an entrepreneur, if you invest in that, you're going to sell these things to the company. So, more or less, today we are talking. Okay, I will tell you briefly about something. So, I hope that all of you have heard about Kyoto Protocol. So, Kyoto Protocol just tells us that it's an agreement reached by nations that we are going to go back to the 1990 level of emissions by 2012. So, Kyoto Protocol ends at 2012. And this year in December, we're going to have a United Nations conference in Copenhagen, which probably is going to be the optimists are saying that it's going to be probably the most phenomenal meet ever in the history of humankind. And so what we're going to decide is what after Kyoto Protocol, post-Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol, we decided we're going to go back to 1990 emissions level, and here in Copenhagen this year, we are going to decide the negotiators from all the nations, the governments of all the nations are going to go up and tell them that, okay, we have this amount of target, so we intend to cut our emissions to this much amount of level. So somehow this much level has been negotiated. It has to be negotiated, and if you want to produce, you have to produce at this level. Now, how can you produce at that level and give this amount of emission? That's where these abatemental activities come in. That's where these new abatemental technologies come in. That's where the green entrepreneurs come in, where they invest and they find out technologies where we can still produce at that level. We don't face a production cut, but we're emitting at this level. So that's why I'm emphasizing on this role of green entrepreneurs here. So environment protection doesn't mean stopping production. Investment. So what we need is investment in the form of abatement activities. And so green entrepreneurship. So I was talking about investing in technologies, but don't think that only green entrepreneurship doesn't mean manufacturing green products only. It means consultation. It means environmental solution providing companies. It means green knowledge center, recycling plants. If nothing, then carbon neutral or minimal carbon production processes. These are also green production processes. Okay, today, some people may say that, okay, today sitting in India, you're talking about green knowledge center, that's a far-fetched concept, but I'm saying, I'm an optimist, and I strongly feel that we're going to come at some negotiations at Copenhagen this year. And once this comes in, these kind of businesses, these kind of investment are the things that are going to come in. And if the entrepreneurial spirit of India has been long known for India has long been known for its entrepreneurial spirit worldwide. So, and this is the new technologies, the new areas of where we are coming, and we need youth coming into these centers, coming into these areas, and invest in these areas. So this is a picture taken outside the personal COP. So these are the stage by stage way, the road to Copenhagen, one of the road to Copenhagen meets. This was in Boston, Poland earlier last year. And so they came up with a poster that survival is not negotiable. I'm not against negotiations, but we should not be so late in negotiating that we have to put our survival on the negotiation table. So thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.